truth and preservation of our soul shine. I can feel it, yours and mine. Close your eyes and witness it inside. In your bones, you will know. Trust and let go, and let it flow.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of All Things in the Name of Love. And today I have with me, I'm just doing a very brief summary of what you are because you're a multidimensional person and I totally get that. But among other things, you're a mindset and manifestation strategist. And I know you've had a varied background to get to this point. So I want to dive into it, but first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for joining me and for your presence, because I can feel the light that you're carrying, and it's just a joy to be with you.
Thank you for having me.
You're
I actually consider myself a mindset disruptor.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the black sheep of therapy for sure.
Perfect. Perfect. So how did you get here from there? Or
Yeah, exactly. So basically, like many of us, raised in a volatile household, the women that raised me all struggled with mental health issues. As time went on, my dad ended up committing suicide, and then my little sister committed suicide, and then directly after I lost my mom. So it was back-to-back deaths,
Ooh,
all different.
yeah.
That's just when I really became obsessed with being what they would call the chain breaker in the family, right? Like I want to figure this out. I got very passionate about understanding the momentum of the mind, basically because I was so close to both of the suicides. I just
Mhm.
wanted to understand the spiral of the mind, like how to harness the momentum of the mind, how to redirect negative thought patterns, and how to transform energy, right? And in the process of that, I just spent the last 15 years just going down these rabbit holes, with my own dark night of the soul experience,
Mhm.
because we all go through that in the process, right? Because you start
Yeah.
unveiling and unlayering as you learn.
Mhm.
And, when I came out on the other side, I ended up with all of these modalities that were truly birthed within me. Yes, I learned the science, but I really made it my own with
Mhm.
the music, with the nervous system training. Obviously, there's so much rhythm wrapped around it because of my dance and music background. So that's why I really, really heavily advise people, like, if you don't know what your passion is and you can't find it, you really got to go into those dark closets. You know what I mean? Because it's such an individual soul journey. Like we all teach, you teach, I teach, but no one's going to teach like me. No one's going to teach
Mhm.
like you. So we
Yeah.
really do birth these babies. This is my baby, from
Yeah.
our journeys.
I love that.
Uh,
Yeah, because like, I mean, I talked to animals when I was little.
I love.
I was told I was going to be a doctor, but I didn't want to cut anyone open. So fast forward to 2020, after receiving body talk, I'm like, oh, this seems like a modality I'm supposed to learn. Second, I start taking classes, they start talking to me again.
Oh, I love that.
Like, okay, this is what I needed to. I didn't know it existed until I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw something recently that says if you're really close to animals, it's like the children you were supposed to have but didn't. That was so interesting to me because I'm really close to animals as well. So I was like, that's interesting. I've never heard that.
I love that. Yeah, because they carry a frequency, and what's going on right now in their consciousness is they want to be interdependent with us as opposed to codependent with us,
Yeah.
because we're learning how to be interdependent. They're coming along with us. And so it's just fascinating to see how, when I interrelate with other animals, how they respond to me and how they show up as like how they want to.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned animals because I think I've learned a lot with working with dogs specifically, because
Mhm.
I do a lot of rescue work and I do a lot of seniors. And obviously, it's really interesting to watch them. You bring them home and then, they don't feel safe until the tail untucks, and that when that happens, that they feel safe. And then, like, you're working with their anxious attachment styles. And the way we nurture these animals is the same way we need to nurture ourselves, like we know intuitively, like, okay, we need to calm them down, we need to reparent them, we need to let them know we're safe. Like we know how to nurture everything but ourselves is my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but true. Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of practice because, like, I don't know, for example, the word grace.
Mhm.
My higher self was like, grace. And I'm like, what's grace? I'm like, figure it out. I'm like, that's a big word because it's so elusive.
Yeah.
And yet when I come to grace, and I do this with my own healing practice, like I do not judge anything. Any energy that wants to come through is part of me.
Yeah. How do you
So
interpret grace?
how did what?
How do you interpret the word grace? I use it a lot, but I just say I extend people grace that don't deserve it, is how that
So
usually.
it's like a gentle acceptance
Mm,
of what is.
sure.
Um, and I don't have to necessarily, because I'm very frequency based. I can feel if somebody's in a different frequency. I don't use any other language because that's what my brain works with. But like this weekend, I came across a couple of people that had a frequency that wasn't aligned with mine.
Yeah.
So I just sent them love, and I was just in an observant mode because like I don't want to take on anyone else's energy.
That's why I just don't even date. Literally. The more in tune you get with your body, the more time you'll spend alone because you could become very protective over your high vibe. You become very protective over leaking energy. I have lots of friends that come to me for advice, and it's like I'll offer a little seed and I can tell immediately if they're ready to hear it. And if they aren't, I'm not someone that keeps talking. I pull my energy back because the minute you do that, you're depleting,
Yeah.
and that reciprocity, that cycle is not returned, so you literally deplete your vessel. You need to hold that for the people that are ready.
Oh yeah. I hear that so much because for many years, this was an unconscious programming.
Sure.
Tell me a story, and I go, oh, and then immediately it tangles me.
What'd you
Like,
say?
oh, like the poor dog. I'm entangled in that story.
Yeah.
I've just given my energy away to something that is not me, and then I'm like, oh, I wonder why I'm so tired. It's because like I'm unconsciously, until I was conscious of it, giving my power away.
Yeah, it's hard when it comes to animals. I had to pull back a bit because I was like literally creating a lot of PTSD for myself. I
Yeah.
think it's also like it's basically a reflection of us, like our abuse, the love we wanted, the protection we wanted, so we get so entangled with it
Yeah.
because it's reflecting that unhealed part of us. Because even when we do heal and we heal our nervous systems, it's still that imprint, I feel like, is still there.
Oh
You
yeah.
just know how to nurture it and
Yeah.
not let it guide your reactions, your decisions, your choices.
Mhm. No, I completely agree with that because like when it's like the different layers of awareness you have that come in, it's like, oh, I was doing that thing, or oh, this is how I've been showing up, or this is a story I've been telling myself for decades that doesn't serve me at all.
Yeah.
I
Those are
can't
all
see
nervous
to
system
see it.
imprints. Yeah, those are all, that's why I'm really passionate. It's funny about the nervous system imprints and identity training, because those are the two that hold the stories, right? Those are the two that decide how you interpret love, how you interpret money.
Yeah.
Is love scary? Is it stressful? Is it dangerous? Is it something that hurts?
Mhm.
Because if it is, you're always going to push it away. You're
Right.
never going to feel safe to hold it. Same with money. If you grew up in a house where, you always heard stress about money, we're broke, we're this, oh, don't spend, you're always going to have that imprint and that story that money equals stress. So even if you get an opportunity and you're blessed, you're going to release it. You're going to spend it. You're going to waste it because you don't feel safe to hold it.
That totally makes sense because our bodies are so intuitive,
Yeah.
carry so much.
Yeah, they do. And like, that's another thing is like if you've been raised not so in a volatile household, majority of our nervous systems are stuck in survival, because we've never taken the time to really reparent them and signal to our nervous system what safety feels like. So that grip actually feels like home. Living in high alert equals home. So
Yeah.
leaving that's actually very hard. That's why, just like
Yeah.
the way we nurture a baby, like when you start doing the nervous system training, it's something you do daily. It only has
Mhm.
to be for like a minute or two, but you're essentially reparenting your nervous system. No different than training a puppy. Nope, you don't pee there. Nope, you don't pee there. Nope, circle it back, circle it back, circle it back.
No, I completely get it because our society is kind of built around keeping us in stress.
Sure, especially now.
And yeah, I mean, I haven't had a television since 1998, so I happily don't have that
I don't
paradigm.
have either.
It's so nice. And
Everyone's like, what do you do? I'm like, I light candles, listen to music, I cook, I dance around my apartment, I do yoga, I stretch. Like the list is long.
right, right. But it's like such a it's a mindset shift, but it's so healthy. And like I know from watching other beings around where they pick up their stress levels. And I know I pick up stress. I mean, I've carried stress because I'm a human living in the United States in the 20th and 21st centuries. Um, that's programmed epigenetically.
Yes,
And to unwind that takes a lot of presence.
it does. And training.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, like I said, I always say you are who you train to be. It's like the minute you decide you want to be better, you want to be this, you want to be that, you have to commit.
Mhm.
You know, like I know now because I have seen the results that it's just worth it. You know what I mean? Until people start seeing results, are like, I do that for, you know, they can't think that can't possibly work. There's no way. If it's not expensive, if it's not hard, if it's not something that's unenjoyable, it can't possibly work, you know? I know now, even like if I have a moment of stress, I will take a moment and I will tap in
Mhm.
and just, I'll always like tap
Mhm.
and just give myself a moment to signal safety to my body. Because that grip, you feel that grip, you feel it, you feel it start to tighten. And that's when you really have to be conscious of yourself, like feel for that grip and then immediately redirect it. No, no, you're safe. You're,
Yeah.
and you really constant. If someone doesn't text you back, you feel that gripping. Nope, nope, no. It's okay. You're safe. You know, it has to be a constant
Yeah.
lifestyle, especially like you say in the modern world.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because that, I can hear an energy saying, but that's so stressful to constantly monitor yourself, but it's not.
Mm.
It's the exact opposite of that.
No, and once, but also it's like the law of balance. So once it tips, the calm becomes your new baseline.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's just like any new habit you're trying to form, you know, once you tip the scale, it's habitual. It's no longer something you have to be, that has to be efforted. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And it's such a
Is that a
paradigm
word?
shift.
Efforted?
And it works for me. I like it. But like, going away from the scrolling, the distractions, the anything but here, right?
Yeah.
That is such a paradigm shift that we're bringing in because in this time of consciousness, we have to,
Yeah.
not from a like demanding place, but like if you want to stay sane, regulating yourself is more important than anything else.
1000%. And like, you know, the further we move along with the AI and everything, like if identity is also massive, like if you don't decide who you are, you will be assigned an identity. You know what I mean? You're a loser. You're a this, you're a that, you know what I mean? And that's unfortunately the identities that are being assigned by scrolling. You're not
Right.
good enough. You don't have, no one loves you. Like you're single. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but that's what these like curated Instagram feeds make you feel.
Yeah.
So that's an identity, you know what I mean? So you need to decide, like, no, you're loved, you're this, you're that, regardless of what you're seeing. And also that's why I'm passionate about training identity.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna scroll, you're gonna absorb, you know, and you're gonna interpret and you're gonna decide who you are based on what you're looking at. It's dangerous.
No, I get it. Well, mine is mostly recipes.
I mean, listen, I'm sorry, my feed is cleansed, you know, what I want to see.
Yeah, exactly. Mine is too, but like if you're not paying attention, like I've noticed with TikTok, like
Mhm.
I had a band show up in my feed and I'm like, oh, they're a good band. Well, all of a sudden, most of my feed is up and coming musicians. I'm like, that's so fascinating.
Isn't it?
It's like, okay, what if I like at one point I was like helping a shelter, 50 shelters showed up. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so TikTok's more of like an unregulated algorithm
Yeah.
that hones in on one thing, and at least Instagram has a little more structure to it, I'll say.
Okay.
Um,
I have a TikTok, but I don't get on there much. I should just, I don't know. I don't know why I haven't.
I don't like I had it because I was
Very,
gonna
very toxic.
I was gonna post videos and all I get is men asking to marry me. I'm like, yeah, this is
Really?
yes. like, no,
Good.
that's there. Thank you so much. I'm like on my own spiritual journey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I do like my frequency.
Well, listen, anytime you don't feel loved, just open your TikTok. Look at this playground of men.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just fascinating because like I think that like in this time as we're remembering
Yes.
who we are
Yeah.
and remembering that we are love, if you've never thought that before, that's a scary concept. Like
Yeah.
you are like your essence, your light coming from source, God, whatever you want to call it, is pure love. And you are that.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to tap into. That's one thing I love about also, like, again, with animals, especially dogs, there's unconditional love. Like they love you no matter what.
Yeah.
That's one thing to learn from them. But that was a big part of my journey is when I was going through the dark night of the soul, I just was in such victim mode and I couldn't get out of it. But through the journey, eventually the lens flipped. And instead of saying, why did that person do that to me? I finally heard this whisper of, why did you allow it? And that's when everything changed. Because that's when I started really doing that internal dive. Like, why did I allow that? Why do I think that I deserve that? And then you're like, but all I did was give love. But why did you do that if they weren't, giving it back? And that's when I really just went on a really beautiful journey of just learning to love myself, because I thought I loved myself because I had tons of friends. I love my job. I look in the mirror, I like how I look. I just didn't get it. I
Yeah.
really feel like a good way to know is if you love yourself is how you let specifically your intimate partners treat you. you know?
I have seen, because I've done so much inner work, like the reflections of my friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, I must have done a lot of work to have these beings in my life because I see the reflections they're giving to me, and it's like, thank you, soul. Thank you, source, for guiding me, because like the individuals in my life right now, like I could spend days and not even like get tired of them.
That's great.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
requires me to love myself enough to notice when I'm like showing up in a shadow aspect, like my back is today. Um, that's a really deep level of wounding that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You definitely start to see the shift with, yeah, who you choose to surround yourself with, what you allow, mainly like what you allow, whether that's friendships or, intimate relationships.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
very,
it is.
yeah, it's very
Especially,
telling of your growth.
yeah, because like when we decide that we are worthy, everything shifts.
Everything shifts and your circle gets a lot smaller.
And I love
It's interesting when you start, and it's also, you see things coming from a mile away, especially with dating. You know what I mean?
well,
Like,
I haven't dated in 5 years, so it's really
okay,
interesting because I can see, like with the example of the TikTok men, um,
the TikTok man.
the TikTok men. Well, what I do is like if I see somebody and I like their work, I comment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so grateful you're sharing your gifts in the world, right? Because that's how I am. That's like, I don't think anyone's ever talked to them like that before. I'm like, is it my frequency? Is it my language? But like, no, I'm just being a friend who's supporting you in spreading light into the world. That's all I'm doing. I guess you're not used to that yet.
I think they can feel you is the difference,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
like energetically. We all
Yeah.
have like an energetic blueprint,
Mhm.
and energy is the one thing you always feel, you know what I mean? Whether you know it or not. People have known it their whole lives. Like they've been saying, oh, I didn't like the vibe there. Oh, that place is a bad vibe. Like we know
Yeah.
intuitively, we've just never really listened to what we're saying, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the awareness. I've known this for about 15 years that like, if you like me, I'm like a hot cinnamon bun, and you're just like, get in my, like, I'm like, really? And if you don't like me, it's great because then I don't have that, like, I mean, I've had the boundaries set up and everything, but I'm just I watch how different individuals. I had a friend show I saw yesterday.
Mhm.
She lit up like a Christmas tree and was like, oh my God, I get this. And I'm like, huh, you're not really that close to me, but you're acting like I'm a big shiny object. I must have done some work on myself.
I love it. I think
But
that's
that's what happens, right? When we shift, like how everything, like even in the grocery store, like it's amazing how
Mhm.
everything shifts.
Well, they talk about that in, in quantum physics a little bit, like when you change who's observing, what you're observing changes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the way let's just say I'm an insecure version of myself. Like I'm going to go out, someone's going to make a facial expression. I'm going to decide what that means
Right.
versus a confident version of myself goes out and deals with that same thing. I'm going to interpret it differently. So I think people do show up differently because it becomes a domino effect. If I think this and then respond like this, it's a domino effect, and you continue interpreting the same way, you'll continue to have the same experiences. So like you're saying, you're doing work on yourself, you're elevating everything,
Mhm.
specifically the way like your energetic blueprint, right?
Yeah.
The way you speak, the way people feel you, they feel you differently now, you know?
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm playing with this. So tell me a little bit about your soul sync method. How does that work?
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
Like I'm obsessed with it. I do it every day. Okay, so it's a 3-step method. It's
Okay.
very scientific. It's about 5 minutes. I wanted to make it very attainable and fun. And I believe that 5 minutes of focus is way more powerful and carries way more vibrational weight than sitting for an hour doing a meditation where you're falling in and out. So basically, the way it works is there's a 2-minute nervous system reset.
Cool.
What this does is, we do a 2-minute nervous system reset. It signals to your body the feeling of safety. You'll know when you feel it because everything, that grip releases. As soon as you feel that grip release, you have 30 seconds to 3 minutes before your nervous system locks back up. In that moment is when we do the identity shift audio. This is based on whatever you're working on, whether this is love, money, confidence. You immediately do that right after. And then you seal it with, this is really interesting. This is kind of my new thing. You seal it with one line that I give to my clients. It's like, I am whatever. But you say this while you walk in a figure eight.
Oh, I
Because,
love that.
yeah, you walk in a figure eight. It's like, it's basically, it's a signal of completion to the quantum field. The loop
Mm.
is complete. So you're basically, when you're walking in a figure eight, you're basically saying, I'm releasing that pattern. This is who I am now, and that 8 is the pattern that basically closes the loop.
Oh, I
And
love that.
it's just very beautiful and very easy. And my audios, because of my music background, are super fun. They're high vibe. So you start like in a really relaxed state, but then the audio is super high vibe and then you seal it. So it's a really fun practice. I made it for me because I was like, I'm able to sit there, but I was like, I want to do something fun. I want it to feel good, So basically I took the best of everything and made this method it's really powerful and it's really transformative.
That's so
At
beautiful.
at no point do they lose interest,
I
because
love that.
like the minute you tune out, you're doing nothing. Like I tell
Right.
people, if you sit down and do meditation and you're doing nothing. Just don't even bother. Do
Right.
1 minute, do 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't force yourself because you're not doing anything. You're creating that, everything needs to be pointing in the same direction. If you're sitting there and your body wants to go, you're not doing anything,
Right.
coherence, the coherent signal.
Yeah. That is so important. Like figuring out that state. And I love that you've done this because that's just such a gift that you're bringing into the world.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. I'm like a fan of my own. But it's just really magical because I've been doing it with myself and man, specifically the nervous system training. I will tell you one thing that I've noticed as I've healed my nervous system, you actually have a phase that you go through where you are very tired. Like I was sleeping a lot. I thought I was depressed. I wasn't depressed. It's just your nervous system is like been gripping for 40, however many years. So
Yeah.
you really have to listen to your body when you start to heal your nervous system. I was sleeping and I thought I was depressed, like I said. And then I realized I didn't have the momentum to work out. And sorry, to work, to do my work, my audios and stuff. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And that's why the identity training is so important as well, because in that moment, you're no longer living in survival where I would get up and grind and grind. I thought it was because I was so passionate, which I am. But
Yeah.
it's survival mode, thinking, I need to work, I need to make money, I need to survive. I'm a single woman, like go, 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 go. So it was just interesting how I lost that drive. but it's also beautiful because I'm just like, I don't feel that grip anymore, but I did need to start doing identity training, like, I am
Yeah.
XYZ. But it was just an interesting observation of my own healing that people need to be ready for. Because you might think you're depressed, you're not. You're just finally just
Mm,
feel safe
yeah.
and you don't have to grind. And guess what? You're still alive. You're not going to die. You know what I mean?
It's just shedding the old way of being.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just so peaceful. You finally like really get to feel your femininity, kind of, just your soft lady love, you know?
I get it. Like one of the practice I love to do, I haven't done it in a couple days, lay on the ground for like at least a half hour a day,
Oh, yeah. Like on your
barefoot.
back.
Yeah, on my back, spread out, no towel,
Perfect.
no blanket, no anything, just like on the ground with the insect crawling. I don't care because I want to be really, really connected with Mama Gaia. And I get done with that. I started doing that when I'm done with a hike. I lay in the grass when I'm done
Ooh,
with a hike.
nice.
I mean, just being out in nature and then grounding, it's a whole other level of just yumminess.
Oh, I can imagine. When I take my dogs to the park, I always wear flip-flops so that I can at least get my feet in the grass. Actually, this is your podcast, but what do you suggest for like, I think that's a big reason why New Yorkers are just so stressed. Like the energy just bounces off the walls. I mean, they have the park, but that's
Grounding
it.
pads, grounding
How does
sheets,
someone
grounding pads.
ground that's doesn't have access to?
Grounding sheets, grounding pads.
Mm,
Those I like because one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm house sitting as grid work around Oregon is fascinating journey. I have a grounding pad that I sleep with every night because I
okay.
want my feet touching the ground, and it's that third hole in the outlet. You plug the grounding pad or sheet into that, and it's connected with ground.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like as a like bare minimum, you can do that.
Mm,
I had one when I was living in Portland, Oregon. I was on the 11th floor of a building. I'm like, I need to ground because I'm like really high up and it doesn't feel good. And my
mm,
former partner's like, why? And I'm like, I'm really sensitive to Mama Gaia. I need to be connected to her.
yeah.
So, and even when you're in the concrete, I know I don't know, New York City concrete, it gets washed off, but like that's ground too. Hug a tree, find a tree and hug it.
Yeah, true.
Love being talked to. Like I was shown where the hearts are last week when I was up in Ashland. It was like, okay, we're gonna show her our heart, and like they were like pulling me to touch their hearts. It was magical.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
Yeah. But yeah, at a bare minimum, like earthing.com, I don't get paid for this, but earthing.com has grounding sheets and grounding pads. There's a whole bunch of them out now. But I've
Okay.
had them for like 10 years or so
Yeah.
because I need to have that. It's like it changes. Like most of the people I know say, you're probably the most grounded person I know. I'm like, and I just
Literally.
want to lay on the ground for like 2 to 3 hours a day. That would be my ideal because I feel so good.
Oh, that's great. I know. Like yeah. I mean, like once you start working on yourself and you kind of pull back socially, it's when you have the time to do these things as well. And it becomes a lifestyle. Like I say, like every night I ride my bike with my headphones on alone all the way down, like 15 miles. It's my grounding kind of. It's just like my
Mhm.
mental reset.
Yeah.
These practices are really important,
Yeah.
whatever it is to you.
Yeah, like whatever it is that brings you joy.
Yeah.
Like, I love the way you lit up when you described the system because like that's the juice.
Yeah.
We don't need to do anything that's a slog. We get to do what brings us joy. And that's a whole new paradigm shift as well. Like one of the things I love to do,
Mm.
bake.
Did you say bake?
Bake. I love baking.
Yes.
And it's healthy.
Yes.
I refuse to make anything that's not healthy. That's kind of been cut. I'm looking over at the oven I used yesterday. It took 6 hours to heat up to 400 degrees. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, we're
wow.
not baking very much right now. So
Cooking is like I with my journey, I felt like cooking was probably the biggest act of self-love I did for myself because the time that goes into it, the focus, like you really are in a meditative state, especially if you're learning like I was.
yeah,
Um, and then just like having dinner with yourself, and I would light a candle and I would play music and I really just romanced myself, and it was probably the most transformational part of my
Mm,
act of self-love towards myself
I
was
love
the
that.
cooking.
That's beautiful. I
Yeah.
haven't gotten the candle and the music, but I do. I'm very conscious about what I make.
I'm a
Um,
Libra.
I can always up it, right? I can always bring in more light and more energy and more intention because like that's what I've learned because I grew up in Connecticut, so I had that high paced energy. What does it feel like to actually pay attention to the food I'm chewing on?
Yes. Yeah.
What does it feel like to feel all of the spices warm my esophagus when I'm drinking my chai in the morning? Like, and thank them and appreciate them and actually just be present with that experience. That's like a gateway to remembering ourselves.
Yeah. So much of it is just slowing down so you can actually hear all of the answers to the questions that you have.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Mm.
And I can tell the difference. Like when I like today is like you are slowing down, woman. You're slowing down so much. You haven't ever slowed down this much before. And I'm like, okay, but it's for self-love. Because this
Mhm.
little aspect of me that's been with me since I was probably many lifetimes, but like specifically in this one, is finally ready to be heard. And she needs quiet. She needs presence. She needs like all the grace and the love and compassion I can possibly muster, which means I have to slow down so much.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
more you slow down socially, you'll lose a lot of people. So I have a big personality, but the more I slow down, some of my closest friends that are just loud alpha females, like, I mean, I still love them, but like I can't be around them. I could take a dose. And it's really kind of sad because I miss them, but I can't energetically take it anymore. I used to be in such alignment with the chaos.
Mm.
And it's not like we were bad girls. We were just loud and everything was like a show and like we're performing all the time because we're so funny, like whatever, and now I'm just so calm and I'm just like, my friends are calm and they're quiet and maybe we'd be labeled boring, but I don't feel bored at all. So the calmer you get, like you just you want, like, that's the environment that you want to maintain, whether
Yeah.
it's internally, externally, with your friends, with your conversations.
I hear that so deeply. Like I a couple of weeks ago, I was with one of my girlfriends, and we were out on her lawn and laying out on it like teenagers telling stories about boys. The same time, we both said it's like we're teenagers, but we're not talking about the boys. And her husband comes out and is looking at us like, "What are they? What are they doing?" But we were just being present and just enjoying the beingness. And like, I don't really have the capacity for friends that can't do that.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
it's just noise. It turns into noise. And the
Mhm.
more present you get, the more you zoom out, the more you see that we're living in a world of people just wearing costumes going to the circus. Like that's
Yeah.
really what I feel like now,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like what like just watching. I'm just observing all the things and how people show up in the world. And it's where they are on their journey.
Yeah.
A woman I saw on Saturday, and she talked at me. There was no engagement. And I finally like I've tried a few times to like connect. There's just no connection because she's in her story. And
They're unconscious when they're like that, is what
yeah,
like when they're just rattling the story and it's the same, they're just unconscious,
yeah.
literally, just in the program.
Mhm.
Was this a client?
No, it was a colleague.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was just watching the interaction and just going, yeah, I'm not even listening to her at this point. This is so interesting. She's just literally talking at me, and I was tuning out and like listening to what's going on inside and like wondering like when it is appropriate for me to leave without being because I'm still like I'm sensitive to others' feelings, not to the extent that I was, but I'm also not going to sit there for an hour and listen to her talk at me.
Yeah. I heard there's a way to protect yourself from that, but I don't know how to do it. Like I have to kind of remove myself as well. I
Yeah.
also read something that says there's like their higher self pulls them to someone like you because they know
Yeah.
you can help them,
True, but like then like the higher self knows. Animals
The higher selves are debating.
Oh yeah, I always talk that the higher when I do a session, I call them my higher self and the four-legged's higher self. And then I get out of the way, I channel pretty much. And so I see higher selves all the time. I used to like be like, but your soul is so why are you here when your soul is so beautiful? Like it caused many discords in relationships because I kept looking at the soul instead of the person in front of me.
Yeah.
They're ready when they're ready.
Yeah.
And I can hold the frequency as much as I want to, but like if somebody doesn't want to hear like, oh, you actually have a wound that you're replaying because you don't feel heard.
Exactly. The unmet needs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but also like so much has to do with accountability. And sometimes that is, why are you allowing this? And
Yeah.
if they just keep fighting, it's like, they're just not ready.
Right.
You can be like, even with, certain people I date, like they'll like, when they're with me, they really experience like, full body love. But if
Mhm.
they're not ready to walk through the doorway that I present to them, we can hold the container all day long, but we can't make them walk through the doorway. So that's why I say I will continue to hold the light,
Yeah.
but can't
Like,
force anyone to do anything.
how are you finding dating? This is just a random question that popped through, but
It's interesting. It's like I love dating because I study human behavior. I use it to see where I'm at because I really do believe that every experience is like perfectly designed to evolve your observation patterns.
Mhm.
Like I used it actually part of my journey. I used it to break my codependency patterns, to break my attachment style. I was able to cultivate enough awareness at that time, even though it felt like getting punched in the face every time I went out. Anytime someone didn't text me, call me back, because I live in Miami Beach. So it's like,
Oh wow, okay.
this is like the devil's playground. It was tough, but I loved it because I would go on a date. I thought we connected. Maybe we'd go on 2 or 3 dates and then he would blow me off and it would just annihilate me. But then I was able to have that conversation with myself. Like, you don't even know this guy. Why are you attaching? Why are you putting them on a pedestal? Why the minute they don't text you, they're on the pedestal and you're in the gutter? Like, it was really that kind of conversation I was having with myself. And it was
That's
amazing.
beautiful.
So I still like to date, also to see just where the world is mentally. You know, like what, and I always seem to make a program out of anything that happens. Like I'll make a new audio. So it's kind of like I need it for inspiration.
Love that.
Yeah, no,
That's
I think,
cool.
like I say, it's consistent opportunities to practice observing from
Yeah.
a higher state of consciousness.
I love that. That's such a beautiful way to approach it because I haven't like I've been on my own journey within.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, well, what would that look like? I don't know, because like I had two really long
That's your
relate.
next layer. That's your next layer of like growth. Go out and get your ass kicked. Literally, because when you respond, are you responding from the program of your mind, the one that
Yeah,
was betrayed, or are you
yeah,
able to zoom out and exercise
right.
that level of consciousness? It's
Yeah.
really, let me tell you. I'm like, wow,
This,
get your ass kicked because
I'm like, you want to be my friend? Perfect. Friend, I can do friend. That sounds great to me.
you only need one date nowadays. Like you can pretty much, if you still have a wound or an imprint, you'll feel it pretty fast.
Yeah.
That's what I use dating for. Like I'm like, ooh, that's still there. Okay. Huh. What's that voice?
Oh,
Okay, she's still there.
so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for everybody, but
Right.
I was an athlete my whole life, so I like tough training.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
I mean, it can be.
I love how like we can take these experiences of our past selves
Yeah.
like and then just like use them as framework of in a sense of how we approach the new like the old stuff great framework add the new stuff to it and then we have this broader understanding of how to be.
Yeah. And I truly believe like every version of you played a role and you
Mhm.
can incorporate that into the current you. Like I would say even like even when I was like a child growing up and I was dealing with really bad anger issues, have used that now. Like I know how to harness anger and turn it into power and how to like redirect it. So it's like there's nothing to be ashamed of, is my point. Like
Right.
we want to look at the promiscuous side of ourselves, but if you go through the journey and you really do the internal transformation, something will come out of that time in your life. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like now I tell people how to protect their vessel, how to, protect their body. You know what I mean? So it's different. It always flips the script, but it's always needed. It's
Yeah.
always needed. There's no part that should be shamed. You know what I mean?
Yep. I completely agree with that because like the shame is like probably the lowest frequency we have on the planet
I think you're right with the, yeah, yeah.
because like we hide ourselves from ourselves because something we did was
Mhm.
just on some moral standard that doesn't exist except within us.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't meet that standard. And so therefore, like we can't feel that feeling and the helplessness that is literally in my lumbar right now. I was
Mm.
ashamed of being seen because I was an infant and I'm not, of course, infants are helpless, right? And yet, because of the life stories I chose for myself,
Mm.
that just like clicked something in me that is a program that I didn't even know I had. And so the gift of the awareness I have and the level of acceptance I have of myself is like, oh, you're here. I've been waiting for you to show up. And yes, I'm walking around like a 90-year-old right now, but like that's so wonderful because like it wants to be felt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you're finally here.
It's packed with data
Yeah.
of, of usually unmet needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a gift is that?
Yeah. That's why I always say, like, it will find a way to manifest.
Yeah.
And it's usually pain, ailments, cancers,
Yeah.
you have to speak to these energetic blocks of
Yeah.
all this energy we suppress because it will find a way to manifest. My
Mhm.
mom passed of pancreatic cancer. And once I started studying and learning, not, I don't know what obviously, I know the basic when it comes to energy. I work with meridian point massages, but just the fact that anytime we have an emotion and we don't express it, it gets blocked into one of our meridian points, right? Which is attached to our organs.
Right.
So after I studied, like she died of stage 4 cancer, like she was
Wow.
molested a lot. She had a lot of sexual abuse and, it manifested in her, her pancreas. And so it makes sense. There's a path.
Oh,
She
yeah.
never healed that. She never answered it. She died
Mhm.
fighting still.
Right. Right.
So
And that's what happens. Like I know bladder and kidney fear, right?
mhm.
And I'm like, I'm pretty good. I don't really have fear. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that fear.
But it could just be fear of change, fear of not being good enough. Fear, like we don't have to, doesn't have to be like, oh, fear of never getting
Well,
married. It could be this big story.
I'm not trying to analyze it. I'm just aware of the fact that it's there,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because I can viscerally feel it. And it's like, oh, okay. So I don't need the story because the
Sure.
story is useless to me. I just want to feel the feeling to the fullest extent that I can so I can release it because that's where the juice is. It's like it just wants to be felt
Yeah.
and held and loved and honored as what it is. And anything else doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Like you say, allowed to surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that is for the brave.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. That's one of the things when I was starting to manifest and doing a lot of really powerful things, I would notice that I would attract things in, then it would go away. Like I would lose the opportunity. And that's when I started studying the energy work. And when I started doing meridian point for fear and anger, it was
Mm,
immediate. I
yeah.
could feel the flow of energy in my body after like one session. But like you say, sitting with it. But before I would do the energy session, I would bring the intention like, okay, what am I releasing? You have to sit down with intention, right?
Mm,
And sit with it, like you say, allow it to surface. And then I would, use my knuckle and just move it through. And it's
mm.
really powerful. Like, we have so many things that we are the healers.
Right.
We don't need anything but
No,
ourselves.
we don't. We
Our,
don't. And yet, you know, I mean, 100 years ago, we would have been, well, not burned at the stake, but we have been burned at the stake for many lifetimes because we just know the innateness of our body's ability to heal itself.
yeah, 1000%. Like,
Yeah.
God, can you imagine if everyone, like, as a conscious collective, just really started awakening? My gosh.
Amazing that, I mean, just the magic of, wait a minute, I don't need medications. I don't need doctors. I don't need that way of being.
Yeah.
I can choose to heal myself. I can choose to love myself. When I started doing energy healing, my mom's like, that's crazy. I'm like, to you.
That's a good answer.
Like,
I like that.
because yes, but like
Over.
I've studied quantum physics too, and it's like it's quantifiable. That like yogis have known this for, like, how do yogis levitate? Right? Because they know what we don't yet.
Yeah.
It's just, are we ready to accept the conscious awareness that we're divine?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's really what it is. Like, what we're going through right now in this ascension process is remembering that we're not the stories, that we're multidimensional beings. The way I describe multidimensionality is all the things I love to do.
Okay.
Very different aspects of me. Like, I have a 5-speed BMW. I love driving it around corners at 70 miles an hour. I love grounding 2 or 3 hours in the, it's like all these different facets to me. I don't have to be one thing.
Exactly.
And to release the confusion of trying to figure that out and just allow it to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think we're so used to like pigeonholing ourselves, and we're so much more than that.
Oh yeah. Or just the labels,
Yeah.
because people want to know like how to compartmentalize everything. We want to label everything and know where to put that person, you know?
Like, I'm just
So
feral. Okay, just call me feral.
yeah. Feral, like a little feral cat. Wild, independent.
Yeah.
I like
I have my
it.
own way of living, that most people, like, whenever I talk to someone who's not aware of professional house sitting, they're like, I couldn't do that. I'm like, well, I was guided to.
Yeah.
Literally guided to. Like, I love home. I certainly love a kitchen that has a oven that works. But like,
Great.
but like, this is something my soul told me I needed to do. My small self was like, what, really?
There you go.
My
Yeah.
higher self said, you can choose, but like, this is a needed call. You need
Mhm.
to be a grid worker right now in Oregon
Mm.
for like 11, well, it's going to be like 14 months by the time, 15 months by the time I'm done.
Wow.
Especially in Central Oregon, for some reason, my light is needed here.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I like
okay, so I'll just
Yeah.
go around Central Oregon and spread light, activate light, do the things. Small self doesn't get it at all, but I know when I'm guided to do stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's like follow the path, don't judge the path, right? I think that's why like a lot of people don't follow their intuition because, we're living in a world that's very left brain dominated, right? Logical, doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. XYZ, judge it, analyze it instead of just listening to the intuition, that's that's one of the many problems. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, and how we show up in the world has ripple effects.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why I say like we can like regardless of what anyone does to me, I extend them grace because I will continue to hold the light for the conscious collective. I will continue to stay high vibe. I will continue to do my daily work. It's a lifestyle for me because we're in the modern world, right? It's not like I don't go out and get my feelings hurt or get mad, but I have to hold the frequency because I know how to do it and I feel like it's our duty. You know what I mean? Once you have the tools, it's my job to recalibrate myself so that I can continue,
Mhm.
to hold the frequency for those who haven't got there yet,
Yeah,
you know?
it's why we came here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I signed up for this. Yes, I did, because I'm a generation curse breaker too. I don't have any children. I was guided at 10 not to have children.
Ah, what's so funny is everyone asked me and I'm like, I just knew that I was needed for like many children. I don't know. I just didn't know what I was talking about. But I was like, I just knew that I couldn't tie myself down to the responsibility of like taking care of one soul. Like I knew it was supposed to be something
Mm,
bigger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. Mine was just like, you're the end of the line. I'm like, and 10, I'm like, what does that even mean? But it was like this whole, like, you need to just kill it. I'm like, that sounds kind of dramatic, but like, it was just, it literally was killing the ancestral lines on from both sides.
Mhm.
Even though I have second cousins and aunts and all that, it's like the specific lineage that I was carrying wasn't supposed to go forward. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and whatever you're, what you're teaching now will be like the legacy you leave. That's how I look at what I'm doing. Like my baby is going to be this
Yeah.
method. It is going to be what I teach people because once they learn it, they'll carry it, they'll teach it. You know what I mean? So that is our
Yeah.
business. That is our
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different way of doing it.
Consciousness. We're basically birthing consciousness into other people. So, you
Yeah.
know,
It's bigger than just one thing, right?
yeah, yeah. You know,
Mm, yeah. Mm. Well, I'm aware of the time, and
I'm
I'm so
not.
grateful that
Oh,
we're,
oh my God.
I know,
Look at us.
'cause I'm like, that's kind of what anyways, I want to first and foremost thank you so much for this beautiful conversation and for your beingness and the light you carry in the world, because I see you and I love you, and I'm just so grateful that we've had this time together.
You. I love you too.
Thank you. And the last question I'm going to ask is, how do people find you?
You guys can find me. My new website is called The Irresistible Identity Code. And that's where it has, the three-step method that I mentioned and all my audios. Obviously, my personal website is Angela Jean Chat.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mm, thank you so much for
Thank
being with me today, and intend that you have a fabulous rest of your day.
I'll go on my bike ride. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Sophia Reisberg, the host and producer of All Things in the Name of Love. And I don't know if you've been following me for a while, but I've been doing this for 6 years. And I'm being called to expand it in a couple ways. I don't know what that looks like yet, but one of the ways that would be really beneficial is I've started Buy Me a Coffee. And if you feel called to support me, I'm sharing the link in the description, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support, for your listening, and for helping me bring more light into the world. Namaste.